The Conquistador Podcast was created for dreamers, entrepreneurs, and leaders who want to conquer their future. Here are Mauricio Garcia and Hubert Humphrey.
So it's another week and another opportunity that I have, which I'm always excited to do it. Want to welcome you to another episode of the Conquistador Podcast. You know, every day we do this show live, and we try to give you the secrets, the things that have actually built some amazing companies, have created more wealth than any other business in history. And so today we are going to begin with just give you a kind of a summary of what has been the system that made this whole thing possible. And to do that, you know that every day it is a commitment that my mentor has to be here with us to share all his experience, his life journey, being an entrepreneur and being a successful businessman, the one and only Mr. Hubert Humphrey. Hubert, how are you today?
I'm just doing great. It's going to be another great week. Glad to be here with you. Look forward to talking to all the great driven, determined dreamer entrepreneurs out there that sharing their lives with us and us sharing with them. And you mentioned life's journey. Well, what we're doing, everybody on earth has a life journey, and we're just all together intertwining our journeys together. And it's good to be able to sometimes have ideas that work, systems that work, things that they can borrow, that we can share with them, that they can borrow from us or other people. And that's what we'll do today. See if we can't make their journey in life more successful and a little more streamlined.
Absolutely. Well, I can't wait to get into the subject of today. I know that over the last 40 years, you've really bet big on the system that you've built, that you've been obviously improving over time. Every human, being, I guess, the more we are in activity, the more we grow, the bigger our vision gets. And so a lot of the things that you have discovered throughout your journey, it is in this book. And we have been serving our audience, right? The people that tune to this show every single day, extract of what's in here. But I want to point out to the one page in the back, we actually haven't done a show where we go through what is that, 6 steps and 8 filters. And let's see if we can summarize to people, because this is really, right, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is truly the basics of the system that have built 2 multi-billion-dollar companies that is on the way of building this third one here for the great trilogy story.
Right. In fact, let me even just embellish what you just said a little bit more, just so that I want people to truly understand the full power of this system, and it's not just in the financial services world. Way back when I was still on the railroad, searching, trying to get away from the railroad, all those kind of things, and I'd gotten late in the late 60s as just a very young guy. In my early 20s, I bumped into a little guy that had just gotten into Amway, and I learned a little bit about Amway, and I learned a little more. And it was enough to trigger that entrepreneurial dreaming in me, and that feeling that maybe I could be somebody, maybe I could do something. And it kind of intrigued me in my mindset. And as I learned more and more about it, then in about 1970, in about 1974 or 5, my upline leader, which was Bill Campbell, one of the first triple diamonds in Amway. I won't go into whole details. I've told the story before, but I ended up getting just a glorious accident in the mail. I wasn't supposed to get it, but something he was sending to his diamond club, and I was not a diamond, but sent this little sheet of paper, just one sheet of paper, poorly a bad typewriter, and it had 6 steps, and it was called The Start. Well, later I kind of put it all together. Even before they explained it to me, I started using it, just giving myself some type of a system mentality, a little path to run on, something that I could repeat over and over again. And that beginning was what led me down the road following a system. But the point I want to make about this system is that he had been using this thing himself for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, building up a big deal. And a lot of the people that helped build the foundation of the big Amway company, which has gone on to bring in 100 million people throughout the last 50 or plus years. Wow. So gigantic dynasties like that were built with the genesis of this system that I use. Now, I just happen to bring this system into financial services, which is a miraculous thing that you could bring something like a networking type system into this largest industry in the world, highly regulated, license required, et cetera, et cetera. And we brought that in there, and that's what caused the great stories of A.L. Williams, which is now Primerica, and World Marketing Alliance, which is now World Financial Group Transamerica, and now today the great Hedgeman Group International. All those things came out of it, but I want you to know, even before those big financial services companies that we've built in the past, this system was really what propelled the giant Amway story into the largest, really it's the largest marketing company literally in the world is Amway, and everything else out there is spawned off of it. But the system was the key, and that's if I was in a courtroom trying to produce enough evidence to the jury to come up with a verdict that we were guilty of having a system that will recruit millions and millions of people and revolutionize all kinds of industries, I think we can do it here today. That's why I even go back prior to the A.L. Williams, Primerica, the WMA, WFG companies, because the system is so proven, it's tested, it's timeless, it works in any environment. I even took this system after I sold the WMA to Aegon. There was a period of time where I had a non-compete in the financial services side of things, the insurance side of things. I even put it into the mortgage industry and literally revolutionized it and built one of the largest mortgage operations in the world, recruiting people to originate, loan originators and a networking system using this system. So every industry it's ever been aimed at, whether it's household products and vitamins and you name it, or whether it's financial services, insurance, variable universal life insurance, annuities, mortgages, real estate, securities, you name it, whatever industry it's aimed at, it has revolutionized it. And that's how powerful this system is. And something with that kind of a pedigree, you got to listen to it, guys. There's tons and tons of businesses out there running all the time, doing this, that, and the other, and they're playing around with their little version of systems that really haven't been proven, don't do anything. Hey, this is the one to follow. You know, you want to follow a proven, tested system, and that's what this is. So you asked the question, how did we use this leadership format system? How did it come to be? How do we use it to build something? I love the tagline. When you kind of look at our tagline right up under the leadership format system name on our manuals, on our systems, it says the rapid, relentless repetition of these 6 simple recruiting steps will lead to the building of a giant team, a giant super team, a distribution team, and it was the key to a plane getting off the ground is that it's got to be rapid. The pilots, I mean, they pull the throttle all the way back because they got to get escape velocity. They got to get rapid. They got to get rapid speed. They got to get rapid takeoff, rapid ascent. The word rapid is comes only when you can do something that's hadn't got time to have any slack in it. It's got to be powerful. And if you're going to build a team, or you can build a small team, you can build it slow, you can build it and it never take off. You can do small things. Sure. But if you want to do something big, it needs to be rapid and relentless. Relentless means that no matter what's going on, how you feel, how your team feels, what the economy is, what's in the way, relentless means it's going to keep working through good times or bad times to get you there. It's like if you were trying to lift off in a plane and it's a storm and lightning and thundering and wind blowing, the plane still got to lift off. It'd be nice to lift off in perfect weather, but it's got to be able to perform in bad weather too. Same thing in our system. The rapid, relentless repetition, and of course the key is repetition. You can't have any compounding. You can't have any real building up of energy and of thrust or success. Even if you're investing money, the only way you can get compound interest to work for you is if it stays relentlessly they're exposed to that interest rate or that appreciation machine that's causing your your investment to appreciate. If you take it in, put it in there, take it out, put it in, take it out, it'll never compound. And that's what keeps most people from ever building any successful organizations, teams, businesses. They do a few successful things, but they don't do it in any compounding way, any repetitious way, any rapid way. And so I'll start with that part, and then we'll build from there. But yeah. That's what a system does for you. It does that magical stuff that causes things to actually lift off, and it actually to take shape, and it actually becomes successful. And I owe all of our success to that system saving me from myself, and me being able to save countless thousands and thousands and millions of other people was saved from themselves. Because all by ourselves, we won't do the right things often enough, fast enough, and we end up not being successful.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Even when working out, to me, it's a lot easier to kind of follow some sort of a system. But what I want to highlight of what you just said is that mentality. As I hear you go through the rapid, relentless repetition of these 6 steps in recruiting steps that will lead to the building of a giant distribution system, is a state of mind, is a mentality, and without that, which is really the psychology of it, all the steps we're going to go through right now aren't going to. I mean, you can still have some results, some success, but not unless you have those things, that aggressiveness, right? That repetition.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, there's the system, the 6 steps and the 8 filters, and in a moment we'll just sort of throw out those 6 steps and 8 filters just where people can get a feel for what those things really are. But just
they're very simple, by the way. I mean, they're really just simple things, right?
They are. But let me just say this before we kind of jump into those, because I'm still trying to make the case. I think a lot of times more than the how-to, it's the why that really is going to improve people. I didn't know what the system was. I never used it, but I knew that the leader that I had gotten these steps from, that I was able to modify, put them in financial services, I'd seen what he had done, so I didn't have to sit there and understand all about the system before I bought into it. I bought into it because I knew that it worked for him, and thousands of people were coming into the business, and the Amway business was exploding, and I was sold. Now all I had to do was just plug into it and learn it as I went. And that's what I did. But let me give you just a little bit of evidence. Here we are. A.L. Williams was one of the great success stories of all time. We got a former football coach, Art Williams, people like me, a little railroad conductor, and a few other guys, a handful of people, all together, about 30 active people, really getting this thing going. Art had done it for a few months, and then all of a sudden I'm involved there in January of '78, officially getting started, just stumbling forward, and I brought this system in. Nobody else really had a system. They had a crusade, but they didn't have the system. And of course, to lift that rocket ship off the platform, it had to have twin engines of thrust. It had to have a dream-selling, team-building machine to go along with a crusade. And this is what this did. But the end result is that the system, the system caused not 1.5 million people to be recruited into an industry that most people don't. It's hard to bring a lot of people into the insurance business. We brought all these greenies. 99% of them were greenies that had never done it before, and they went through all the paces to become licensed. But so 1.5 million recruits. We ended up with about 300 to 400,000 of them taking the insurance exam, getting licensed. A couple of 100,000 of them making sales. 100,000 of them were really serious producers for a long time. We had about 100 and something thousand of them get a securities license. Just think about the logistics of that. That's, first of all, you got to recruit all these people before you can get any of them licensed in any industry. We had a system whereby all these, in 14 years, we went from just a handful, about 20 or 30 people, to 1.5 million recruits in a tough industry, and got them in. And 10 million sales were sold. 10 million term policies sold. Massive. We beat Prudential. We beat all the fruit. It's the fruits of this system is what is so compelling here, and I'll promise you, at least 65 to 70% of those 10 million sales were system sales. Were made internal consumption and field training a person on at least 3 sales with their market. And so it was just lots of people doing a little bit and a few doing a lot that were leading them, making that thing go. And it was just it was a monumental thing to see that many people come. And it was really the salvation of the industry, because the insurance industry was a dying industry, aging people. It was a lot more people retiring than getting licensed, and it was average age was still today it's a graying industry. If you get past our
it
numbers,
was revitalized back in the day. You left here, and the industry kind of started dying again, and we have older people into it. Sorry, I cut you off in there, but it's true. It's everything all over again. If you look at the average age of somebody of a financial professional insurance agent.
That's right, it is. But the key to this thing is this. In fact, we have these 6 steps, and then we have these 8 speed filters. And on one hand, we have this is a mentality I hope people can understand. On one hand, we have these 6 steps that cause us to systematically have this continuous recruitment of people, the continuous opening of outlets, the opening of outlets. The word continuous is the key. In other words, if I recruit Mauricio, Mauricio's got a prospect list, and we're going to borrow his friends and his contacts and his efforts. And if he's making new friends, we're going to share in that. Then he's going to recruit people, and they've got a prospect list. We're going to help them recruit people, and then we're going to tap, root, and overlap. And it just keeps each new concurrent linking up of a building chain keeps bringing warm markets. So it's just a compounding of warm markets. It's the concurrent linking up of relationships of all these people. Lots of people, everybody says, I don't know anybody, but everybody knows a few, and who know a few. And our system is designed to let all that build up into teams, and our pay system is designed, programmed with computers to follow all that. And as each one of the people get licensed and make sales, it pays these management or supervisory type overrides to those people. And so you're prospering not just on your own personal sales, but on the sales of many other people that you're coming. It's just a unique way. Instead of one company trying to run ads and bring all the agents into themselves and manage them all and just feed them leads, we have a system where we go out and just take a natural flow of life. Friends who know friends, friends who make new friends, who know friends, and it's just that continuous opening of outlets. And our filters, the filters are very simple filters, and those filters are just it causes the simultaneous production to go through the outlets at the same time. So while you're recruiting these people, production is happening. And what do we mean by that? You're going to be, every recruit is a client also, and they're going to have a little needs analysis done, and they're going to buy the products that they need and can afford from the person that recruited them. So one of our very first clients is our people that recruit. Now, they don't have to buy to get in, and we don't control what they buy. And this is no auto ship type thing or anything like that. There's no physical inventory. But as they buy, if they have a needs analysis done, they become clients, and we're going to we require that they go out and be able to be field trained and observe at least 3 good training sales out into their market by some matchup leader that's licensed and knows how to train them. And so just those system sales, so you got the word continuous opening of outlets, simultaneous movement of production. Now, a lot of these people, as they get into business and become licensed and trained, they're going to go out and see a lot of people that aren't recruited, and they're going to make a lot of sales to a lot of people. But there's a baseline. You know you're going to build something big just simply through the recruitment and the field training of people. And our 6 steps and 8 filters cover that. And maybe we ought to just tell them what the 6 steps are, just kind of read them out to them.
Yeah, if you want to do that, I was thinking as I was going through that, in this special episode, we're going to place a link below, because a lot of people watch us on YouTube, and also on the, if you're listening on like Spotify or Google Podcasts, you could go back to YouTube, Conquistador TV, and you'll find a link where you can actually download this sheet that has those 6 steps and 8 filters, because that is literally the map, the treasure map to great wealth. But
Well,
if you want to go through them, Hubert, absolutely, and then let people kind of go back and then they can kind of read it.
Yeah, and of course the people that are joining with us that are already on our team, they're familiar with this.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of companies out there that have copied different versions of this over the years. That's one of the things we've done. We've sort of been the master copy that a lot of companies have tried different ways and different virtues of this. Some people have tried to copy it exactly, but they don't have the psychology. They don't understand the nuances of it. You can give a book of instructions to somebody, and one person who's close to the source, the person that wrote the book, they can go and get something out of it. You give somebody else, and they don't have that backing, that coaching, that mentoring. They never used a book of instructions, but they got the same book of instructions. But here, the 6 steps basically is very simple. It's prospecting. Everything starts with prospecting, and it goes to how you prospect. Then the second is the approach or contact, where you're contacting the person. What is the reason why you're contacting them? We are a recruit-driven company, an opportunity, and my philosophy is that every prospect is a recruit to prove different, and everybody we're approaching, we're not all of our guys did. Some of our guys are used to the sales side, so they like to approach somebody as a client first, try to recruit them later, and that'll work. It works slower, but it'll work. Mm-hmm. So you approach people. Normally we want to invite the people from the approach. Your contact is trying to invite them to a webinar or to a live business opportunity presentation, an overview of the opportunity, or for sure setting up some kind of an appointment where you can go see them. So it's a setting up of an appointment, which is number 3. Number 3 is where you actually make the presentation. Too many people try to use step 2 to contact somebody and start telling them all about it all at the same time, and it really loses its effectiveness, because the tendency for most people is to jump to conclusions, wrong ones, I should say, mm-hmm. and if they get too much information in the approach, you've hurt them. Not hurt them because you talk to them, but you let their human nature cause them to jump to wrong conclusions, and they don't take a look. And boy, that's fatal for people to jump to a wrong conclusion. Something that could change their life forever, and we didn't save them from themselves. Shame on us. Of course, the presentation is very simple. We just give them an overview of what our opportunity is about, how it can make their dreams come true. What is our crusading message? What do we market to justify it? And just those types of things. But then number 4 is the follow-up. That means that it's one thing to go. It's like if a golfer hits the golf ball, it's what the golfer does after they hit the golf ball with their follow-through that determines where the ball went. So this is our follow-through. Just because we've made a presentation to somebody, that's like hitting the golf ball. If we don't continue on with that centrifugal force with a follow-through, mm-hmm. well, then there's probably poor results from hitting the golf ball or making the presentation. So prospecting, contact them, get them to a meeting where you make a presentation. Number 4 is follow-up, so all of our previous efforts now have a chance to succeed. And the follow-up is basically linking them into the first 4 filters. That's stay after the meeting, stay after the webinar. It's all it is just measuring interest. Filters are just mm-hmm. filtering mm-hmm. out people who aren't paying attention or having enough interest. If you stay after the meeting and you ask questions, and number 2, you take something of value, a kit or magazine or DVD or something, that means you're more interested in. And if we can set up an appointment with you later tonight or tomorrow or the next day, within 24 hours or so, that if you do that, that tells me you're more interested. And if you keep that appointment and actually get in, sign up, get a code number, wow, we have really measured a lot of interest there. And then it switches back to step 5 on the 6 steps. That's the startup. Now, how are we going to start you up? We're going to put you through filters 5, 6, 7, and 8. we're gonna look at your prospect list and start helping you get your names out of your head, and put 10, 50, top 10, top 25, up to a top 100 in the first few days. And then we're going to also, number 6 filter, is we need to identify what is your big why. What is your reasons for getting in this business? What do you want to accomplish? And everybody's got, basically it's what are your dreams? And how can this system help you make your dreams come true? And then filter 7 and 8 is where that production starts to simultaneously come that I talked about a while ago. We do a financial needs analysis on you somewhere in there, and we determine what your needs are. You end up buying an insurance product that fits your needs and your pocketbook, and you buy it from me, or if I've got somebody else that's assisting me, the field trainer that's working in my stead, you're buying it from the upline, so to speak. And then filter number 8, we're gonna look at your prospect list, your calendar. We're gonna match up and go out and help you get at least 3 recruits, and hopefully we'll get those 3 field training sales done. So somewhere in that deal, from seeing your case written up and these cases being done on these field things out there, you're gonna see how this thing works, how the machine works, how the products work, and then those 3 go right back through the step 1 up there, prospecting on the 6 steps. And then they go right through step 2, 3, 4, follow up through the filter, and that 3 becomes 9, becomes 27, becomes 81, 243, on and on and on. And we're building leaders. So, and you'll know if when you look at our manual, you'll notice that on our 6 steps we have the word leader is attached to each one of those steps. Somebody that's already been through these 6 steps will be guiding you through each one of these 6 steps, and that's what activates the system and causes it to go. It's not just some static thing, it's a living thing because it has a person, a leader, and I don't mean some superstar leader, I'm talking about somebody that's got your interests at heart, they've got common dreams, and they've just got started, and they know how this system works, and they're going to get you through there, especially in the recruiting part. Sometimes we can have somebody that's still in the licensing process can help you start recruiting, and we'll have somebody else that's already licensed that eventually matches up to help make sure that the sales are, the needs analysis are done and the sales are done, things like that. But it's a system that saves you from yourself. It causes you to do the things that success demands that you do often enough, relentlessly enough, over and over and over. It gives you enough time for your efforts to compound. But without a system, everything's random, it's hit and miss. Most people get in business, they don't know what the next step is, they don't know. This eliminates so much confusion, it keeps focus. And as you know, focus on anything is what causes you to at least have a chance to succeed when you focus. And it's self-imposed. It's a self-imposed discipline. Another way of putting it, the system is imposing a new set of successful business habits upon you that you would not impose on yourself.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. And it's so simple. I mean, we could talk about analogies, right? If you have a map and you know where you're going, your chances of arriving there are much higher than if you just get in the car and not even know where you're going to go. So I hope you took notes. I want to invite you to go back and watch the recording of this live podcast, because this is, if you really listen to everything Hubert says, there's the full entire system right there. And if you want to come, closer, deeper, and dive into the real psychology of this system, that is the key that's going to open a great future for you, then please go to heiopportunity.com. Listen to what the opportunity is. The greatest opportunity in America today lies in the financial services industry. And the greatest system that ever existed is this system that I'm touching right now. And the proof is that it's built 2 multi-billion-dollar market cap companies, and it's timeless. It's evergreen, because we are in the process of building the 3rd one, much faster, bigger than it's ever been done in the past. So stop wasting time on any inferior opportunities out there. Not to say there aren't great opportunities, but there's nothing as big as and with so much potential as the financial services industry. So go check it out by going to hgiopportunity.com, and you'll see what I'm talking about and what Hubert's been talking about. Hubert, thank you so much for the commitment you have every single day on this podcast. Let's come on here again tomorrow and talk about another one of these secrets of the system. Have a great day. To everybody watching, to everybody listening, don't forget to comment, subscribe, and share. And thank you for your time. Thank you for the attention. We'll see you tomorrow.
Warning, this podcast may change the way you think about business, entrepreneurship, and money forever. The Conquistador Podcast was created for dreamers, entrepreneurs, and leaders who want to conquer their future. To be an epic entrepreneur, you must adopt the right mental paradigms as well as master the art of selling, marketing, and finance.